Back to the 80s, there was a belief that you had only two options. You had to believe it was Atlantis or believe that it was natural formation. Because in the early 80s and prior to that, accepted scientific fact was there wasn't any humans on the earth 12,000 years ago, which is the last time this whole area was above sea level. 12,000 years ago, the oceans were 300 feet lower than they are now, which means that this whole thing, we were the western edge of a 10,000 square mile plateau that sat 150 feet above sea level. So science didn't believe there were humans on the earth then. So if it wasn't humans, how did those blocks get put in place? So you got either Atlantis or Martians or aliens, or it's got to be natural. Now they know there were humans on the earth much farther back than that. So the stones, when you look at them, they have design to them. And I'm a skeptic. I'm not I'm not jumping on the Atlantis bandwagon or anything like that. And if you're going to believe that this is Atlantis, you'd have to believe there was an Atlantis in the first place. But you see things there. You see straight lines, right angles. You see spacing. That it's just it's not beach rock. So now it's funny when we take people out there and we tell the story in the background. Back in the 80s when I got here, the only two choices people had was it's Atlantis or it's natural. Very few people would say it's Atlantis. Unless they came here, believing in Casey's prediction, unless it was a belief that they had already. Now when we show it to the general visitor, and they've got three choices: natural formation, Atlantis, or simply a very primitive formation left over from people that may have lived here prior to the current population. They all say, you know what, there's a little too much there for it to be completely natural. So that's, I probably fall in that category. That stone's a little too square. There's a little too much design, and there's one spot where you have one stone that's about 6 feet wide, and behind it, two stones that appear to keep the width of that road uniform. So there's all these little, intricacies and